Arts of China is the class meant to cover the arts and architecture from the late Neolithic period all the way to the modern times. I met both Thomas and Lauren in my Arts of China class in different semesters. Lauren Janvis came up actually her own research project. Partly it's because she was in China before. While she visited Beijing, she was very impressed by the old courtyard, the traditional architecture in Beijing.
The Hutong are the alleyways in Beijing. I was trying to approach it in the beginning from an architectural point of view as an art history, but it became a social issue. Really what's happening is right now is that there's a huge population problem in Beijing, and the government has decided that because it owns the land in the first place, it will tear down these houses and try to erect sky rises. Definitely going to China and seeing the people there really helped. At that time, I wasn't thinking about the social issues, but as I came back, I realized that it's very important to my research project. It was a highly transformative experience for me, and it just made me even more excited to go back to China.
Thomas and I, we start to think about, maybe we should, pick up, several architectures, from the different periods in Chinese history, and then, think about, collectively how that would, represent the current, identity of the city and also, of course, the entire nation.
I think the major difference, between doing the research here and doing it in China is a lot of the research we did in China was kind of experiential, experiencing the feeling you get watching people who are there and how they interact with the building or the site. And that was really interesting, and it kind of gave me a very nuanced appreciation for what the buildings do and how they serve, I guess, this community in Beijing. I met with two groups of students from very different academic backgrounds. The first group was a group of students who were studying to be teachers at Beijing Normal University, and their experience with the building really refers to, I guess, what I would call primary socialization. That is, they're experiencing the building in a non-specialized context. They're not students of architecture. They're looking at it from a Chinese perspective, which I actually found their responses very, very helpful, much more helpful than the other students who were architecture students, because the architecture students were certainly opinionated about the architecture, and they had a lot of specialized knowledge that influenced how they viewed the architecture. And I wasn't very interested in specialized knowledge or how they felt a building was being preserved, for example. I wanted to know how they, as a person, as a Chinese citizen, how a building affected how they saw themselves as a Chinese citizen, essentially.
I think this kind of a research experience really enriched the student, academic experience in the college.